have been solutions to my everyday little problems or things that I've encountered that I wanted to correct. I started out when I first had my, well, my first product was the rear-facing car seat mirror. So by federal law, babies have to face backwards in case of an injury, a car accident. So when they're facing backwards and you look into your rearview mirror in your car, you only see the back of the car seat. And this was a problem because when I had the baby alone in the car, I couldn't see her whether she was distressed or not, if she was making noise. And so I would go back there and pinch her cheek, which wasn't politically correct. But I wanted to make sure she was okay. I went home and vented to my mother that there's nothing on the market to see the baby. And she said, well, why don't you invent one? I'm a graphic designer by trade and an artist, so I could actually see the product in my head, in my brain, and I sort of reverse engineered everything, and that was the impetus to all of the iterations of the car seat mirrors. So mine was the first and original rear-facing car seat mirror, and it's still sold today worldwide. However, when I first started out, it was a process to get it to the first buyer. I had no experience doing this. I did sell some graphic design. I always wanted to have my own business for some reason. It's ingrained into me. So I do understand some of the speakers' reasonings for wanting to do the business and the process, like Jeff had said with the keying. And I went that route. Now, my belief is that I think everybody should start a small business if feasible. So if you have an invention that you can collect components that are already made and assemble them and package them, you have a business. So that's what I did. I figured out what I needed as far as a mirror. I knew it could not be glass, and I started from there. I found manufacturers that would make a plastic mirror, and I found that I needed an angle on the back, but I couldn't do injection molding. That was way too cost prohibitive for me. And so I found a company here in Boston that would heat bend each piece of plastic. And that way I didn't need a huge overhead of inventory. And I could get, they cost a little bit more, but I didn't need a warehouse to inventory it, a warehouse full of inventory. Back in the day, this was a long time ago, the minimums were huge. Today is fantastic because you can get one made of every single thing, or you can 3D print something. Had 3D printing been available, I would have been doing that for these angles. But I had to get all the components, assemble them. And so I did that for about 5 or 6 years out of my home, raising over the years 3 daughters. And it was bedlam, but I did love it. It kept me busy, and I was fascinated that anybody wanted to purchase one. But I felt like if I needed one, it had merit and it was viable. Now, usually I give a PowerPoint presentation, but I wasn't aware that we could share a screen on this for some reason. I'm sorry. But I'm trying to remember the key points. You know, how do you find a manufacturer? I didn't know what licensing was until a company approached me and said, have you licensed your idea yet? And I found out what that meant, and I said no. And they were interested, like I said, after about 5 or 6 years of me producing this mirror out of my house. And we got up to the point of the license agreement, which is a very important document. And in my book, I have what should be in a licensing agreement and what doesn't necessarily can be in it. So the non-negotiables and whatever you want to put in it, because a license agreement is the most important document you're going to have in licensing a product. So like I had said before, I think plan A should be to license a product. I've done it both ways. And I have started many businesses around many products. I have 5 US patents, but then I stopped getting a full utility patent because I learned that you don't necessarily have to have any patent to license a product, but you can have a patent application, which gives you time to license it. It gives you 1 year, and then you're patent pending, protected. You can tell the world. But I do like the idea of having a patent, but I now would go in hopes that the licensee will pay for that full utility patent, and they would defend it and all that good stuff. And that's why I like licensing. It's not easily done. The process is made easier now with everything that's available. And it would behoove everybody to have at least a LinkedIn account. And this sounds crazy. Well, I have a section in my book around social media, and it really needs to be updated, and a second edition should be for social media and the FBA model at Amazon, because those have evolved since I wrote the book. Social media is important, but you need to go to, whether you're venturing, you really need to be on it, or licensing, you still need to be on it, at least through LinkedIn, to have that landing page where people can go to see your sell sheet or video, your demo video. LinkedIn, and believe it or not, TikTok are the two platforms that have a huge chance of going viral. Because those two platforms, you're not just putting it out to your followers, people who are following you or you're following. It goes out to the public. And there are professional, very professional people now on TikTok, which started out as a silly little song-making platform. I'm getting off on a tangent here, but I wanted to deliver you some value. Check out TikTok. There are doctors on TikTok. There are psychiatrists on TikTok, and they're amassing this huge following. So if you have a product and you just go out and you do these little short takes, no editing involved, see where that goes, because it is going up in age, because every platform starts with the kids and then it ages up. And it's really aging up fast. There's a ton of people that I think that you could get on there and make a killing with, really, or at least get your product out like a huge ad. So to back up, I got a patent on my first mirror. I knew to do that. I don't know how I knew that, but I had to approach a patent attorney, and there was no such thing as a patent. Patent, I'm drawing a blank, the one that takes a year, provisional patent. There was no such thing as a provisional patent application. So I had to go for the full utility. So I found a lawyer that would give me a half hour free. And I've stayed with him as far as a patent attorney. I have needed patent litigation, and you should know that your patent attorney is not a patent litigator. So I would also like to say I'm not a patent attorney, but I've been doing this for decades, and I coach people. I'm an international judge. I've written a book, so I have a lot of experience around this. And I love being a role model as an inventor and helping people, because I've met so many people who have been really taken advantage of financially and otherwise. You don't need to pay anybody to go through this process. I've outlined the 6 steps to do this. You can do most of it on your own. You can do a lot of it on your own. You don't need to spend a lot of money on a prototype. I have coached people that have done medical devices right down to very, very simple, but successful products. And the strategy and the process is the exact same no matter what you're doing. Some might be more complicated. For example, if you need an FDA approval, or medical devices go through certain channels. But when you think about it, my simple car seat mirror had to be crash tested. It had to have the highway department put their approval on it. I knew I couldn't do that, but I did put mine out there, and in hopes that somebody would see it and license it. And I think that if you believe in something, it will come true. Not just wishing for something or paying someone else to do it. If you believe in something and you stick with it, and your tenacity is there, you will get from a startup to where you want, either licensing it or venturing it, to start a company around it. And I would like to say also that not one of my paid professionals through all of these years has been 100% correct. That includes my patent attorneys, my accountants. I was misled on many occasions, but I went with my intuition, and I can give you examples of these. My patent attorney initially told me, I said to him, I want to patent every application I can think of to adhere to put a car seat mirror in a car. So when the cars had mandatory headrests, I knew that there was going to be an iteration of a mirror to go around the headrest, because mine was pre-headrests, and it's simply pinned onto the back seat upholstery if cloth. If vinyl or leather, it's stuck on with double-face strong tape. So I told my patent attorney this, and he said, no, you don't want to be your own competition. And I left his office, and I said to myself, yes, I do. And thank goodness I trusted that, because I have 4 additional patents on iterations that I saw forward and wanted to cover. And thank goodness again, because my first iteration was outdated, antiquated very quickly. And I was able to sell these patents at different points. So the 6 steps, you know, the last step I call bedazzle it, because I'm always looking ahead to how the technology is going. And it behooves you to always be thinking, how do you bedazzle this? And it also keeps you to be your own competition.